Two leading contenders, Dr. Bawumia and Kennedy Agyapong, will be featured in a very interesting way. I'll speak to two of their key team members. Abu Jinapor is MP for Damongo and a former Minister of Lands. He'll be talking to me about why he believes Dr. Bawumia is the best person to win the primary and also lead NPP into the election. We'll also speak to Kwaku Kwarteng, MP for Obuasi West, who believes Kennedy Agyapong is the best person. It's going to be fun. Stay with us. So tonight we're focused squarely on MPP's election of a flag bearer on Saturday. We start off with two of the leading candidates. Dr. Bawumia is a former vice president. Many polls say he's the lead contender. In the 2023 internal poll, he got a little above 61%. His main contender is Kennedy Agyapong, who got around 38% in that poll. We'll be talking to the MP for Damongo, a former minister of a number of portfolios, who's a key member of the Dr. Bawumia team. Later on, we'll speak to another member of parliament, who's also a key member of the Kennedy Agyapong team in the person of Kwaku Kwarteng. But for now, the Honorable Abu Jinapor is my guest. Abu Jinapor, rather. Which is which? Is it Abu or Abdullah?
It's all good.
Samuel is the differentiator. Abu is the middle name. Jinapor, MP for Damongo. How are you doing?
I'm good, Bernard. Thank you very much for having me. Let me say a very big hello to your cherished viewers.
Usually, there's a key question for an election, whether it's an eternal or a national election. What do you think the key issue, or from the point of view of the Dr. Bawumia team, what is the key question the 211,000 delegates have to answer on Saturday?
I think the question they have to answer, and to be able to answer that question, you have to situate it within the broader context of where the MPP finds itself today. And where the MPP finds itself today, I believe, is one that we all have to be courageous and honest enough to admit that the party is going through a very challenging and difficult phase. You're very much aware of the outcome of the elections of 2024, and the party has been taking a series of steps to ultimately revive the fortunes of the MPP. One of them, as you know, was the big extraordinary national delegates conference we had at Legon, where we had a series of amendments, and several other interventions have been put in place by the leadership of the party, which is culminated into this election which is coming up, which I believe is also an extraordinary election, which is the first time the party is holding an election to elect its presidential candidate almost 3 clear years to the general election, and also the first time the party is electing its presidential candidate before electing any other officer of the party. In other words, the reorganization of the party is beginning with the election of the presidential candidate. Thirdly, which I believe will answer the question as to what the party people should be looking out for on January 31st, is the fact that how the MPP conducts itself on Saturday, January 31st, will have far-reaching implications for the fortunes or the forward march of the party. If we, and as it should be, are able to conduct a peaceful, fair, orderly, decorous elections on Saturday, January 31st, that will be another major step towards a revival of the New Patriotic Party. And finally and ultimately, and that answers your question, if we elect somebody who is seen by the generality of the Ghanaian population, not just MPP supporters, remember that, not just MPP hardcore supporters, or not by hardcore NDC supporters who may be opposed to him, but if I may use the word, the average everyday Ghanaian who is not particularly aligned to any of the political party will see him, will see this person as somebody who can be elected to become president of Ghana, and that the middle belt, let me put it that way, the middle belt of our population will be comfortable, or will, on a good day, will find him as a credible person as a person who has a temperament, a person who has experience, a person who has a vision, and a person who has what it takes to be president. So that is the answer to the question. The answer to the question on Saturday is, having gone through all these processes, who do we elect on January 31st? Whom, if we put before the Ghanaian people, the middle belt people, he will have a better chance. Or
you're not talking geographic, you are talking
floating
voter alliances.
Yes. Voter alliances.
Non-hardcore NPP people.
Exactly.
Crossover appeal.
Absolutely. And I'm talking about not hardcore aligned people. Because when you look at it critically, you have hardcore NPP people who will find everything good in an NPP candidate.
Irrespective of who he is.
Irrespective of who he is. And then you have hardcore NDC people who find nothing good in an NPP presidential candidate, irrespective of who he is. But you're looking at electing a candidate who has the best shot, the best chance of appealing to non-aligned Ghanaian electorate, you know. And even with that, Bernard, and I have to admit, even when that is done on January 31st, the effort to get the person to cross the line is still going to be a Herculean one.
So you've given me about 4 points. I won't repeat them. What makes Dr. Bawumia the best of the five?
Very good question. Look, the five of them are people I should admit I know very closely and know very well, and literally all of them, or some of them, are people I've worked with closely through different engagements. I mean, as you know, Dr. Agyapong, for example, was a minister in a cabinet that I also saw a minister. Dr. Agyapong was a minister in the same cabinet. Honorable Kennedy Agyapong is somebody I've known for years in my young activist days, and I will call him a close friend, if I put it that way. Kennedy Agyapong is, I mean, he's
everybody knows him
exactly in Ghana.
Okay.
You know, and they are all people I have great respect for. There's absolutely no two ways about that. But when you look at the election of 2028, Bernard, and if the NPP wants to maximize its chance of having a strong shot at 2028, and I choose my words carefully, and I try to be cautiously optimistic when I'm talking about election of 2028, because even with these qualities I'm about to talk about, which will zero in on Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, it will still require a lot of hard work. It will still require a great effort to get the NPP to win the election of 2020. But of the five, if you look at experience, the person who has experience, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has been at the forefront of Ghanaian politics since 2008. Not at the mid-level, not at the bottom level, at the very top level. He's been on the ticket since 2008, for almost close to 2 decades in Ghanaian politics, frontline Ghanaian national politics. 2, this is a man who's been highly and hugely marketed, and that is a fact. 3rd, throughout his involvement in the public life of Ghana, and I think his opponents will even admit to this, he has shown to be a public servant of unquestionable integrity. There's never even been an occasion where an allegation is even been leveled against him, let alone a scandal or a proven allegation. So his personal integrity is actually a big asset. 4thly, I think nobody questions the fact that Dr. Bawumia is, over the years, shown to have lots of ideas, solutions to problems, and this and that, and is shown to be competent. And of course, the last government we had our own issues. We scored positive points in many areas, but we had issues here and there, 1 or 2 issues. But in the totality of his conduct and involvement in the government of President Akufo-Addo shows that he's somebody who is given the opportunity, able to generate ideas and solutions to confront and deal with the concrete issues which confront the mass of our people. I think he's shown also to be formidable. He's shown also to be formidable. Shown to be humble, and humility in Ghanaian politics is absolutely important. He's shown to have the temperament, the temperament to be president. And above all, I think he's also shown to have the vision. You have a vision which, if he puts before the Ghanaian people, we will have the chance of the Ghanaian people coalescing around the vision that he put before them. And so what the point I'm making is, look, all 5 of them are canvassing to lead and be presidential candidates. But we need to choose the best among the 5. And if you look at the 5 of them, and you look at the factors that I've listed, and if NPP is not considering 2032, in other words, presenting a candidate for 2028 for strategic reasons, and expecting not to win, and then repeating the candidate for 2032, and hope that the traditional 8-year cycle will favor the NPP, then maybe we can look at another candidate. But if we want to win in 2028, I think our best shot should be Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
Let's stay with this question. Isn't the NPP taking a risk by electing a candidate before the core issues around 2028 become clear? And let me explain. Usually, by the second year of a government, we know whether it's going well or not. So the question for 2028 election has not yet been, is not clear in people's minds. So in choosing a candidate before that question is clear, it's a big risk the whole party is taking, in the sense that we don't know whether it's going to be an economic election, we don't know whether it's going to be an identity election, we don't know whether it's going to be an election on security as the most important issue. So if you choose a candidate, so this applies to all the candidates, whose skill sets may not match what Ghanaians may be looking for in 2028, it's a guesswork you're playing.
Well, you have a point there to some extent, but the party has had the opportunity to examine all these matters, and as I said, the party congregated at Legon at conference, and that is the highest decision-making organ of the party, and the party came to the conclusion that in the interest of the party, it will be better to elect our presidential candidate way ahead of time. Always remember, Bernard, that if you go to the United Kingdom for the 5-year term of a government, at every material point in time, the opposition has a presidential candidate, or if you want, a prime ministerial candidate. So what the NPP is doing is not new, it's not novel. It happens in the United Kingdom, where the leader of the opposition is in place throughout the tenure of the government, and whatever the issues become for the elections ahead, that leader is required to be able to confront those issues. But the other answer I want to give to you is that in all humility, I think very strongly that on Saturday, when we elect Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, I think, again respectfully, is demonstrated to be versatile. Versatile in a sense that whatever the issues will be in 2028, I believe he can represent the NPP strongly, he can hold the flag of the NPP proudly, and he can confront all the issues which will be on the table, whether it's security issues, economic issues, educational issues, health issues, cost of living issues, employment issues, whatever it is. I believe Dr. Bawumia.
Let me deal with two things in one. Your main opponent within the primaries, when I hear his team, their main message is that NPP needs to give Ghanaians a new message in 2028, and they also need a new messenger. So their argument is that Dr. Bawumia was core in the bad performance of the previous government, and therefore if you want Ghanaians to give NPP a chance in 2028, you need to give Ghanaians a new message. And their preferred candidate, Kennedy, is a different messenger with a different message. So for them, Dr. Bawumia presents more of the same. That happened at Nakufado. What's your response?
Well, you know, in politics, decision making has to be strategic. You have to take very strategic decisions, and the point they make is a point that has to be responded to. And the response I will give is that in 1996, when we presented President John Agyapong Kufuor, and President John Agyapong Kufuor could not make it in 1996, the NPP rejected this proposition that we should present a new message and therefore a new messenger. And the NPP repeated President Kufuor for the 2000 elections, and he won. The NDC had Professor J.E.A. Mills, may he so rest in perfect peace. Professor Mills was vice president to President J.J. Rawlings for 4 years, and we all know how the NDC lost the election of 2000. The same message was made that the NDC should present a new message and a new messenger for the 2004 elections. The NDC rejected it, and the NDC repeated Professor Mills in 2004. Professor Mills did not win in 2004. In the 2008 elections, the same argument was made that we should present a new message and a new messenger. The NDC said no, presented Professor Mills again in 2008, and Professor Mills won. Indeed, President Akufo-Addo in 2008 was a leading member of the Kufuor administration. He was a foreign minister, he was attorney general, and in 2008, the NPP lost that election in 2008. That argument was made again, that look, we lost the 2008 elections. President Akufo-Addo was a member of that government. Let's present a new message and a new messenger. The NPP said no. They presented him in the year 2012. We went for another election. The same argument was made. It was rejected. He was presented again, and he won. The classic one, the most classic of all, in my view, President John Mahama. President Mahama was president. he was not vice president. He was president. He was head of the government. And Bernard, you will agree with me that in 2017, if somebody has said to a pundit that President Mahama will be able to come back and be rebranded and represented and bring a message and become president of Ghana, I'm sure the pundits would have ruled that out. And yet the NDC did not buy this argument of a new message and a new messenger. They presented President Mahama again for 2020. They presented President Mahama for 2024, and he won by a landslide. Like the Americans will say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. This arrangement of repeating a candidate and coming together and backing the candidate and putting a message and a program and a formula before the people, which the people will be excited about, is proving in the past to work. I think it is in the strategic interest of the NPP
you answered this
to repeat
from history.
Dr.
No problem.
Bawumia.
Fifth question: the economy. Is the Dr. Bawumia was supposed to be the main economic arrowhead for the Akufo-Addo government. There are many reasons why NPP lost. We don't have time to go into that. But the bad performance of the economy was part of the reasons people were angry. Right? The economy seems to be the best thing. Yesterday, President Mahama was talking at a program, and he says that the economy performance has surprised even him, and that IMF and co are all saying you've done so well with the economy, and that he was expecting the economy to turn around in 2 years. It's turned around in a year. So my point is, the NDC's strongest point for now is economy. The NPP's weakest point in coming out of power was economy. Dr. Bawumia was the head of that. So aren't you disadvantaging NPP if the economic performance continues for NDC in putting Dr. Bawumia? What will he say about the economy if what is happening continues?
Well, let me challenge that to begin with. Look, everything that is happening today with the national economy of our country, inflation is single digit, interest rates seem to have come down, the currency is improved, this and that. All of those are highly welcomed. And I think that it would be disingenuous on my part to sit here to say these indicators are not welcome. They are most and highly welcome. That's number one. Number two, what is the state of Ghana's national economy? The state of Ghana's national, it takes me back to a point former President J.J. Rawlings made, the late President Rawlings, may he so rest in perfect peace, when he was interviewed sometime in 1983 or 1984, when he was asked by a BBC reporter that, what is the state of the Ghanaian economy? And he said the state of the Ghanaian economy is his stomach. He said so. And that if his stomach is full, the economy is doing well. If his stomach is not full, the economy is not doing well. The fact also still remains that in spite of all these figures that have been thrown about, which I say are welcome and which I say are to be encouraged and all of that, Bernard, I say to you today that today in Ghana, the two biggest problems confronting the mass of our people have not are yet to be tackled. The two issues of cost of living and unemployment. Cost of living and unemployment. And if you go out there and you speak to the everyday Ghanaian, cost of living is still a major issue. Unemployment is a major issue. The biggest weapon or the biggest proposal the government made in the run-up to the election to deal with unemployment, that is yet to take off. The 24-hour economy. That was a flagship promise of President Mahama and his government. That was the commitment they made to the Ghanaian people, particularly the Ghanaian youth, and most particularly the Ghanaian unemployed youth, that they were going to roll out a 24-hour economy to deal with the issue of unemployment. It's not happened. The Formula 133, where we're going to have shifts of 3 jobs, 8 hours. That also has not happened. And so the point I'm making is that, look, the suggestion that Ghana's economy is like honey and milk and everything is so rosy, that is not correct. Secondly,
no, what I'm saying is that it's better now than it was under your tenure.
We can go into that debate, but I'm saying to you that proposition that the Ghana's economy is all rosy,
but that's not the proposition. It's a fact that the economy is doing better. Everybody admits that.
I have said that the positive indicators, the major indicators of the economy headed in the right direction are all to be encouraged and welcomed, and even if you want commended. But what is the state of Ghana's national economy? What is the welfare of the average Ghanaian? That is another question we have to answer. Has the government implemented policies to deal with the two-pronged issues which continue to confront the
unemployment and cost of living
and the youth of Ghana? No, they haven't. Have they rolled out a 24-hour economy which is supposed to deal with unemployment in Ghana, which is to give the teeming unemployed youth of our country a 1-3-3 formula, 3-shift jobs? That has not also happened. So that is also a fact. So that's the first point. Then the second point, and let me admit very quickly also that, look, the NPP in its first term had a very excellent economic performance. We all know that. Growth was high, interest rates was down, inflation was down. Yes, the economy ran into problems, and the reasons why the economy ran into problems have been said over and over again. I will not go into that. The NPP government under President Akufo-Addo came up with the post-COVID-19 economic recovery plan, which ended up with IMF and all of that. A lot of what is happening today, the domestic gold pitches program, which was rolled out by Dr. Bawumia, most of that is what is contributing to the stabilization of the national economy today. So it is not also correct that Dr. Bawumia will not be able to answer the economic question, or he will not be able to contribute to the debate when it comes to the national economy.
Let's stay with the economy for a second. You said current problems are cost of living and unemployment. Your main opponent in the NPP primary talks about jobs he's created. He talks about a number of people he's employed personally. He talks about his track record as a philanthropist and a job creator. So if your precondition is true, that Ghanaians are looking at jobs and cost of living, Mr. Agyapong says, I create jobs. I have factories. I employ people. Your candidate hasn't.
Well, but that is very, very excellent. That is extremely commendable that he has factories that employ jobs. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it should be commended. I'm not sure anybody is questioning Mr. Agyapong's entrepreneurial skills. He's been a businessman in Ghana, and he's been in enterprise, and if he's done well in enterprise, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that obviously should be welcome. But the point too that has to be made forcefully, and that has to be made fundamentally, is that being a good entrepreneur does not automatically translate into being a good leader. And some of the greatest leaders the world have seen over the years have never managed even a kiosk before, and have never been in business before, and I've never been entrepreneurs before. So being a good entrepreneur does not automatically translate in becoming a good leader. Again, let me... But
the leader of the free world, America, until recently, he was not a politician. So when you look at the US president, he's a businessman too.
You are not about to have the debate about what is happening in America today and indeed what is happening with the American economy. Good entrepreneurs have sometimes ended up as good leaders. But I'm saying that being a good entrepreneur does not automatically translate into being a good public leader.
No, he's pointing to his track record. That is not belittling. He's pointing to his track record as a job creator.
Hold on. And that is not belittling Mr. Agyapong's entrepreneurial skills. Even being a good manager of, say, City FM, does not necessarily translate into being a good leader. As a matter of fact, the historical evidence has shown conclusively that managers many times don't end up as good leaders.
But he's an entrepreneur.
Dr. Kwame Nkrumah did not manage a single business. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah did not manage a single business. Winston Churchill did not manage a single business. Abraham Lincoln did not manage a single business.
But you see, the mood of the Ghanaian, you see, your premise is that cost of living is high and people are looking for jobs. The man who is competing against the former vice president says, I know how to create jobs. So so I feel like that nobody knows what somebody can do, but he's telling you what he's been able to do.
Then we should make.
So what is your response in terms of the track record of the man that you are supporting?
Then we should make Osei Kwame Despite or some other business.
Why not
to become leader, to become president? Why not? Because I'm saying to you, Ronald Reagan, who was the architect of modern day American enterprise and boom, was an actor. He was an actor. He didn't manage any business. Margaret Thatcher, who was responsible for modern day economic configuration of the United Kingdom, was a chemist, was a lawyer. So I'm saying to you that saying that I set up CTFM, I created 5 jobs, 10 jobs, and the rest is not sufficient.
Isn't that here or there?
It's not so much. It's not here and there. I'm saying it's not sufficient qualification to become leader. That is not belittling.
No problem,
Mr. Agyapong.
I wanted you to see. Please put the picture back. The video of the signing. I know you know Dr. Bawumia better than I do, but he didn't look very happy here. Am I wrong? He looked very ill at ease.
Really?
Yes, that's the impression I get. If you can roll it back a bit, they will see. Did he want to be here, and also does he stand by the commitment here? Because he seemed a bit.
Well, I think. I
mean, he's usually a nice, jovial, smiley person. He was. I didn't see him smile too much here.
Well, I don't know, but I think if there's anybody in the NPP circles who is shown to be a measured statesman, peaceful man, calm, tolerant, and a unifier, is Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
Was he just having a bad day? Because he looked, I mean, I'm not a photo analyst, but you can tell clearly that Doc is usually more smiley, more relaxed. He looked very tense.
I don't come to the conclusion you've come to, but be that as it may, I think sometimes these campaigns are very exhausting. Okay. When they've gone round over and over again, and then they are pulled in to come in and they take these kinds of events. Remember that he's been touring the country for the past 3 months or so that can have a toll on him.
The other point is that he looked very comfortable with those on his left. So again, we're watching this from the newsroom. Everybody was saying, why is he and Educhum and Kwame Agyapong so cozy? I didn't see him change. I didn't see him say anything to Brian or Kennedy Agyapong. I mean, you can ask. We watched it for. You can ask the whole newsroom. We didn't see him. The 3 of them seem to be having a really jolly good time together. Am I missing something here?
You should try and bring the 3 of them here one of these days before the election.
The 3 on his left or on his right?
You are telling me.
No, the 2 on his left, it was very okay.
But did you see when Brian tried to speak to Kennedy Agyapong? That was very.
Yeah, but they were talking
no. There's a video. Your producers can pull it out where Brian was trying to talk to Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, and that was quite. But look, on a more serious note, Bernard, campaigns are exhausting. Okay. And campaigns get heated when it's days to an election. Trust me, campaigns get very heated. And sometimes they can even get acrimonious. Okay. So a lot of what you seem to be observing, I have not observed that. Okay. It may be explained away by with where we find ourselves. It's just about a week to the election. So people are, look at it. That's what I'm talking about.
He didn't hear. Let's end with a prediction. In 2023, Doc got 61 point something. Kennedy got 38. We have just a minute. What is your prediction on Saturday, for Saturday?
I don't get into the business of numbers at all. Okay. What I'm very clear about and what I'm confident about and what I'm appealing to NPP delegates and the generality of NPP people is that on January 31st, given Dr. Bawumia's experience, given how much we've marketed him, given how much formidable he is, given his temperament, given his humility, given his vision for Ghana, and given his personal integrity and all that he has done in Ghana over the years, and given that he's been fiercely loyal to the NPP when it matters most, he showed up. In 2008, he moved from the central bank to become the running mate of the party. He campaigned for the party 8 years to bring the party into government. He was a lead witness. You and I were not there in the witness box at the Supreme Court. He has been fiercely loyal to the NPP, served our president and our government diligently, and the president himself, Kwaku Kwarteng himself, has given him thumbs up on many occasions, given the totality of all these circumstances, and also that he has a program for the welfare of the rank and file of our party, and that he will be a flag bearer who will give the NPP the best chance of winning 2028 and not 2032 or 2036. On January 31st, they should give him a first round victory.
You believe he's winning?
I'm not. He's winning. Clearly, he's winning. First round victory.
Will he do better than last time?
I'm not going to get into that. He's winning first round. That is what.
We'll leave it here.
We'll leave it there.
Good luck to you and to him.
Thank you.
We'll talk again, hopefully right after the election.
And then I'll come and present the victory to you.
Wonderful. We'll be talking to the first guest for the show. When we come back, we'll speak to Kwaku Kwarteng. He is in the Kennedy Agyapong team. He is also pretty confident. He's also a member of parliament for Obuasi West. The point of view is not over. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is still the point of view, and it's countdown to NPP decides. It's happening in 5 days, Saturday, and we're gauging the confidence in both camps. Obviously, we started with the Bawumia camp, spoke to Abu Jinapor, Samuel Abu Jinapor. We now have the MP for Obuasi West, a former Deputy Finance Minister, Kwaku Kwarteng. He's here to talk to us about Kennedy Agyapong and why he believes Kennedy is the best man to lead NPP. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I will use the same preamble for you as the earlier guests. So usually when there's an election, people say there's a question the delegates are answering. So on Saturday, in your view, what do you think the 211,000 delegates, what question are they answering? Or what is the question for the election?
I think the question each delegate will be answering next week, Saturday, would be, will the NPP go into the 2028 elections with the same old messages and faces that we took to the 2024 elections and lost badly? Delegates will be answering that question, or whether we would want to present a new face, a new party, and appeal to Ghanaians that whatever anger they develop against NPP in the 2024 elections, they should give up on that anger and give NPP another chance in 2028. I think delegates will be answering that question. But related to that is also whether if NPP wins the next election, as we hope we would, are we going to do things different? Or it's going to be the old way of suit wearing, English speaking that we have used to govern this country for so long and perform such poorly as political elite? I think these are the questions the delegates will have to answer.
So you're saying there's a question around who the party presents to Ghanaians, and then how, if that party wins, how the party governs.
Yes.
Good. Why is Kennedy Agyapong, in your view, the best among the five?
Because Kennedy is a different kind of politician. Kennedy is the only politician I see across the political divide who can disrupt the status quo that has kept this country back. I think that that makes Kennedy stand out. And I also think he's the one with the right sense of urgency to confront the wrongs that have kept this country back for so long.
But he's been in active politics for at least 25 years. So if there's this enchantment with our politics, and he being a key member of the NPP at various levels, why shouldn't he take some of the blame?
Yes, I think he takes some of the blame. I also take some of the blame because I have been in the corridors of politics for quite some time. So we all take a portion of the blame. But the real question is, are we going to continue walking the path that has led us to our development partners 19 times if you add structural adjustment program and HIPIC? Are we going to walk the same path that is churning out our youth in huge numbers into the streets without jobs? It is the man who recognizes that we have been walking the wrong path, that the political elite has been given the wrong kind of leadership to this country, and therefore is willing to lead change, is the one who deserves support. And it is the reason we are supporting Kennedy. It is not that he is perfect, but it is because he recognizes the wrong path we'll be walking and is willing to lead the charge for a different kind of leadership.
There's a question around whether NPP should have waited a bit before choosing its flag bearer for a number of reasons. Usually, it takes 2 years for us to see what the government is about.
Yeah.
So usually, if you choose your candidate in the middle, by the third year of the government, it's very clear what the election will be about.
Yes.
This is still year one. I mean, yes, it's a year, but he's not even done more than 15 months. So in choosing your candidate now, you risk choosing the wrong candidate because we are not even sure what 2028 will be about. So that's the question. So even if Kennedy is the man NPP feels right about, maybe in 2028 people are thinking about security, or they're thinking about something else, which may not be his forte. So this is a general question to you, the party people, in terms of the timing of your candidature and the nature of Ghanaian elections.
Well, I think, and you may have known this, that this kind of internal conversation has gone on within the NPP for quite some time. I think in the end, the party concluded that we should have the primaries next week. And so I think we have to make the best of that situation. But as you may have noticed during that internal conversation, there were some of us who considered that we should have done other things before electing the flag bearer. But the party has made a decision, and the burden is on all of us to make the best out of that decision.
Let's talk about your candidate and why he's the best. You say he's a different kind of politician. But is that enough? Because Dr. Bawumia, according to his supporters, since 2008, has been at the front line of Ghanaian politics, served as vice president for 8 years. Now, that's a very high position, which is national in character. Your candidate has been a member of parliament for a constituency. So in terms of being tested, you can say Doc has been tested a bit more. Number two, the history of our elections tells you that vice presidents tend to ascend. So Mills to become president after Rawlings, Mahama after Mills. That seems to be the more regular pathway than simply having member of parliament experience. I mean, what's your response to that?
Well, my response is, what do we want as a people? It is not just going into this election to give Ghanaians more of the same. Look, the outcome of the 2024 elections was a statement by Ghanaians that they were unhappy with what they are getting from the democracy that the democracy we're practicing. And I think the burden is on us as politicians and as political parties to respond to that concern. And the way to do that is not to parade the same old things and values that have led us here and that have made Ghanaians unhappy about the dividends they're getting from our democracy. You need to do something different, but it is not just different. Look, I have observed Kennedy Agyapong for quite some time. I am clear in my mind that even though he has his faults, he has a certain character about him that Ghana needs so badly now. And that character is the courage and the boldness to confront some of the things we have been doing wrongly for so long and have been getting poor results from. I think Kennedy has the character to disrupt that. And for me, where we are now, that is the most important attribute we should look out for in our leader. Because if it is going to be more of the same things, what is likely to happen is that in subsequent elections, the turnout would be worse than we saw in the 2024 elections. And there's a risk that the citizen will rise against the political elite. We have a burden to safeguard this democracy. And I think you would need a character to lead that disinfection of the bad politics and economic mismanagement the political elite from both sides of the political divide have been superintending all these years. So that is what makes Kennedy different. I have looked at, again, at the risk of repeating myself, I have looked at the aspirants. I have looked at even politicians in other political parties. And trust me, nobody is cast in that mold. Kennedy Agyapong is the person to lead that at this time.
Some people feel you need a balance. I've heard people like Atachia talk about Dr. Bawumia's composure is what prevented an implosion of the NPP under Akufo-Addo. And he did say this on a different media platform, that there was a lot of things he wanted done that were not done, but for the sake of the party and for the sake of unity, he stomached those things. And number two, he has also been composed in what he says, because if you are part of an organization, you need to balance personal grievance with organizational unity. And for that level of composure, people feel that's very important for the presidency, because you will be provoked, you will be annoyed, you will be betrayed. And so if you cannot show that level of composure, you may not necessarily be fit for the highest office, despite your other virtues. So when they say that, they contrast that with Kennedy Agyapong, and they feel that that's not good for that type of national leadership, because you will definitely have people annoy you, you will definitely get people do things you don't like, but that composure is important to keep the unity of the group. But
Kennedy Agyapong, I'll answer you in two ways. Kennedy Agyapong has been in parliament 6 terms. Kennedy Agyapong has been a successful businessman, opening job opportunities for many people over all these years. What makes anybody think that somehow he does not have the kind of temperament to engage people? I think it is a lack of response to the case we make that Kennedy Agyapong has a certain strength and a certain ruthlessness about him, which is needed in fixing the problems of Ghana right now. It is when people cannot respond to that effectively. Then they say, they try to bastardize an attribute that I think Ghana needs so badly. They try to bastardize that and to say somehow he does not have a temperament. Look, the New Patriotic Party passed him at our vetting 6 times. He went for election and kept a seat that was not ours previously for 6 terms. As soon as he left, we lost that seat. Why do we want to give the impression that he does not have the temperament and the calmness to deal with the burdens that will come with the presidency? That's my first response. But the second, and perhaps more importantly, look, the calmness, the president that does not respond to provocation, the kind of politician who would always be calm, who would wear the big suits and speak English in a particular kind of way, and as you may have heard in the past, who can go to the UN and speak good English, come back home and deliver poor leadership and create a state of our economy and our country that cannot employ its youth. With the large numbers of the youth in the streets, it is national insecurity brewing. We need to confront this, and if Kennedy has the character to do it, he is the man we should present. And I think we should stop looking at things like his temperament.
His utterances too, not just the temperament. So for example, we've seen videos of him, I mean, you know this,
yes,
where he is describing his main opponent as a liar. He says it blatantly, on television. You talk about the kind of politics we do and people and how they feel about it. I understand what you're saying, that people want results.
Yes.
But there's also decorum. Because the position is a state position.
Yes.
And there's a way in which people want their president to behave. So do you not think that that is a minus for him, in the sense of the utterances, they do tend to get caustic sometimes? quite, I mean, abrasive.
I agree that our politics should be void of acidic engagement.
Yeah.
But in these primaries, Kennedy, if at all he has gone overboard on some occasions, he has suffered more of what you're talking about from his political opponents than he has dished out. Look, I think the Kennedy we are seeing, sometimes some of us are a bit nervous that the advice that is going to him, that he should calm down. And so we are definitely seeing a more moderate version of Kennedy Agyapong. It's good, but sometimes some of us worry that if that advice gets into his head beyond a certain point, he will become slow, timid, like just the other politicians. I think we should not throw the baby away with the wash water. The strong, tough character, the ruthlessness, and the willingness to speak truth to whoever are attributes that we require of our leaders, and we should look at those and give him the job and stop focusing on things that I think can be managed. Really, if I get a president, I'll land on this shortly. If I got a president who will, as contrary to what we have seen in the past, pull the whip when he has to, the president who will tell you in your face, whether you're a party member, whether you are a minister under his administration, can tell you in the face that what you did was wrong. I want the president, that kind of president, so that if a minister was tempted to misbehave, that minister would remember that I am working under a president who is capable of calling me on phone, dishing out some hard language to me, and even sacking me. I think we have come to a point where we need to try that as well. I mean, it would be amazing if you had a leader who was tough, who had all the positive attributes that Kennedy has, but at the same time did not carry some of the excesses that sometimes Kennedy exhibits. It would have been amazing.
Let's stay with that. You've been a deputy minister under Akufo-Addo I. Before that, you were a spokesperson under Akufo for economy. So clearly, you are a finance committee. You are one of the leading lights of NPP on economy. It's quite interesting you do not support Dr. Bawumia. Neither does Stika, who is also a former deputy minister. Neither does Abena or Seya Sari. Indeed, the only person in that finance group who you can say supports Dr. Bawumia is Dr. Amin. And in fact, Ampabing, who was the deputy to Abena when she took over, also is in the Kennedy camp. Am I missing something? What's going on here? Because don't forget, Dr. Bawumia is an economist, and his strongest point in the lead up to 2016 was the economy, and you were part of that. So what's happening?
This is what is happening. You see, economic management is political. Look, if people sit outside the Ministry of Finance and they commit government out of step with the general plan, out of budget, and you have deficits which comes back to hurt the macro economy and makes it difficult for the private sector to create jobs, the effect is what we have now as a country. A proud country that, again, has gone to the IMF 17 times. If you add HIPIC structural adjustment program, we have sought development partner assistance 19 times. We are unable, as Botswana, an African country like us, is able to say that we have never needed the IMF, we would never need them. Now, so those of us who have been in the Ministry of Finance and understand that it is the discipline to spend right, it is the discipline to do the reforms that would bring in the revenue. When you begin to understand those things, then you know that managing the economy is not economics matter. It is making the right decisions, the do's and the don'ts. the technical people are there. Once you create the right atmosphere, they will drive the change you want. So all of us in the who have been in the Ministry of Finance, who have sat at the center of government treasury, realize that the kind of toughness and the kind of person you need to control wastage and to reduce the corruption and the wastefulness is in Kennedy Agyapong. It is that character that would help us to create an environment within which the economy can be properly managed. It is a reason all of us have been yearning for a president who will be able to create this space for us.
Some people compare him to Donald Trump. Is he flattered by that, or does he sort of, is it distance? Because the posturing is very similar.
Well, I have not studied Donald Trump that much. I have not spoken with Kennedy as to whether he feels...
Businessman, maverick, he's not from the establishment, he will create jobs. It's very similar. We've seen that pattern.
Well, but Donald Trump was not in their legislative assembly for 6 terms. Kennedy has been. And so I can make the case for Kennedy that his experience in politics, coupled with his experience as a businessman, together with his sense of urgency and the toughness to confront the dark forces of our politics, combined to make him the kind of person we need now. I can't speak.
Two final points.
Yeah.
I'm watching the highlights of the Peace Pact. His body language, he didn't look very happy. Am I misreading him? Initially, when even Brian was talking to him, he didn't seem to be interested. Was he unhappy with the arrangement? What was the problem?
No, I think the question he raised was, of course, he took his time to read through everything to be sure that what had been given to the team earlier was what was before him. And I think he was looking at some of the things that happened in the previous election. In fact, there was a constituency. Let me avoid mentioning the name, but you can check, the records are there. That constituency is made up of 115 delegates. In spite of those who had passed and those who may have traveled, all 915 voted for one particular candidate in the last primaries.
Wow.
The rest got 0-0-0. And when you consider the fact that some had actually passed, then there is the concern that if this elections committee does not avert its mind to those things and take steps to ensure that they will not happen again, then it is hard to say post-election he should accept the results comfortably. So what he tried to do was to draw attention to these things and to seek some commitment from the elections committee and the party that in the event that such a case comes up again, that the party would take steps to annul the results of that.
He wanted an assurance before he signed.
And he did sign.
What's the prediction from your side? What are you expecting?
Oh, we think Kennedy would win this primaries.
One touch?
Yes, that's
from
what.
38%.
That's what.
Because don't forget, you are coming from 61-38.
Yes, but that's what our elections committee, who are doing the research on the ground, the feedback they are getting to us, that we are winning this election one touch. We would appeal to the delegates that this is an opportunity for the NPP to present a fresh face to Ghanaians in 2028, and together we can fix this country.
Kwaku Kwarteng, thank you. I wish you good luck and your candidate as well.
Thank you too.
We've been speaking to key members of the two leading teams. So we spoke to Abu Jinapor, who is from the Dr. Bawumia camp, and we just spoke to Kwaku Kwarteng. Both are members of parliament. And Kwaku Kwarteng believes Kennedy Agyapong is winning. Abu believes Dr. Bawumia will win. May the best person for Ghana win. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, where we'll continue with our look into the NPP's primaries on Saturday. Stay with us.